Okay, so you're probably wondering why Reggie is on a bed or a platform instead of jumping at me like he normally is. Because we're going to talk about behavior. So the reason and when I say behavior, I'm just talking about behavior while we're training. Yes, so I have received lots of messages about my dog is spinning, barking, jumping at me, whatever the case happens to be while I'm training. And what I want you guys to realize, the main thing I'm going to talk about, because really this is more about foundations, but the main thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that you need to separate that behavior issue when I say behavior, the spinning, barking, jumping, whatever the case is, you need to separate that from what you're actually training. And the reason I have him up here, I can focus on him only because I'm looking at him in the video as I talk to you guys. But if all of a sudden he jumped off his bed, I would lose focus, I would lose train of thought, because now I've got decisions to make. Do I ask him to actually go back up on the bed? Do I wait for him to offer it himself? Do I continue talking to you guys? Do I just leave my focus from the video and deal with him? So you just can't do two things at once. Again, the only reason I'm getting away with it right now is because I can look at him in the actual camera. And the other reason I use this as an example is just because he's normally kind of jumping at me when I'm standing here talking. So what I've done is I've taken the behavior, an unwanted behavior, and I've replaced it with a behavior that I want, which is settling on a bed or something elevated while I'm talking instead of the opposite of jumping at me. So for you guys same thing. If he was doing pushes, we know he's a jumper at the tug, and you guys haven't even seen anything. You should see when I actually do agility. He's like boing, 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 boing at the tug. So we know that. So what I need to do, and in a perfect world, we would see that happen, we would stop it, we wouldn't reinforce it during training, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? It's not a perfect world, and we are far from perfect. So things like that are going to happen. So now all of a sudden I've got a dog who's jumping at my toy. When he's working, he'll work lovely. But while I'm trying to transition into my next thing, which obviously what didn't seem like a big deal to me because I didn't even do anything about it. But now it's become a big deal because he's doing it more. And I've had some questions, so I figured what could be more fun than us working through a problem together. So we're going to do some impulse control drills. And what we're going to do, yes, good boy, much better. So you saw I had to completely disconnect from you to deal with him. So again, I did this for a purpose for you to see that you can't train two things at once. So we're going to take our problems out of our training scenarios, we're going to deal with our issues, and we're going to try putting them back in. And we're going to do that together because I got my own problems going on too. So that was the whole purpose of us working through this stuff together. So we're going to do some impulse control exercises. We're going to work through mainly his jumping because that's the thing that I've got, and I can actually demonstrate how I will work through it, but you can apply it however you want to the problem that you're running into. So without further ado, we'll release him, and I'll get set up with our first drill.